Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Putri Nabilla N.S. I'm a student from President University. I'm majoring in international relations. You can find me on my Instagram at @benabilanov, or you can reach me on my email below. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome back again with me, Putri Nabilla N.S. And yeah, we arrive at week 5 after week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and I'm so happy for that. And as usual, this is my extra credit assignment. Hopefully, you can get knowledge maybe from here. Let's get started. So, basically, Politic Week 5 is about political liberty. When we talk about liberty, it means about freedom. It can be freedom of speech, freedom to vote, or freedom to choose your religion, etc. So Isaiah Berlin decide about two concepts of liberty. There is negative liberty and positive liberty. Negative liberty is absence of coercion or repression. Then the positive liberty is presence of means to exercise freedom. We're gonna take example about the cake. You have a cake, so you're free to do anything with the cake, right? So the essence of the negative liberty is you have freedom to do anything with the cake without someone telling you can't do anything. When nobody is saying you can't do this or you can't do that. But when it goes to positive liberty, it means that you exercise your freedom. It's ability to enjoy the cake, to exercise your freedom, that you need to be healthy, you don't have diabetes. So negative liberty is when someone can telling you what you can or cannot do, but you have like something that make you can't enjoy your liberty. Like when you want to eat the cake but you have diabetes, it means that you can enjoy the cake, right? You have limitation to eat the cake. And then okay, why is liberty important? So liberty as a fundamental aspect of liberal politics, it concerns the extent to which government has control over you. And when we talk about political liberty, we usually talk about negative liberty. Example, when there is the freedom of speech, so we can say anything, we can express our thought. But there's a category named hate speech, which means we are not allowed to say SIRA, that is Indonesia Sara. Something or your speech is contained by Sarah, that it means that you have to stop your speech. The government will give limitation on you. And but that is the example of negative liberty, right? But after negative liberty is achieved, are we truly free? Like, for example, when government say that you are free to choose what university that you want, what college that you want to get into, but you have something that limits on you. So when someone says you can do something, doesn't always mean that you can't. Like there's a rich and unfortunate family. So the rich one has more opportunity than the unfortunate family one. So yeah, so basically there is something that or limitation that makes someone cannot enjoy their liberty. So okay, it's basically how much liberty that we get. We're gonna look into the example here about the mask hall problem. What do you think about the mandatory mask wearing policies during this pandemic, basically? And US citizens believe that something that we wear around our body is our choice, so they believe that the government is trying to control them. This is what the pro liberty opinion. But there is always someone wearing a mask because they consent to the government, or it's just either just because of avoid the punishment. So there is someone that not 100% obey the government because they give consent to the government, but it's rather than this someone use mask just because they avoid the punishment. So the question is, why is liberty important? The first one, because liberty as a fundamental aspect of liberal politics, and the second, it concerned the extent to which government has control over you, like the previous example. And then we go to the second example, that is the free speech issue. If someone is offended or if the speech is offensive, should it be censored? So in this case, speech can be offensive if it causes harm. Example like bullying, gender, sexism, etc. But offensive, it not just harm someone, it could be interpreted to the government. Example, the word that offensive to the government in Indonesia is like communism and Munir was killed, like that. And the point is, you have the freedom of speech, but you have unconscious feeling of not being allowed to say. So maybe we censored it by ourselves. We have that human nature basically. And then what is harm? So what is the meaning of all of this? Why we censor it? Why our freedom should be limited? So according to John Stuart Mill, that the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. This is harm principle on liberty. We are free to do what we want because we have freedom, but when it harms someone else, that we should stop. And here, what is harm? Does harm mean only psychical harm, or does it also cover social and psychological harm? You might be offended by something, but if it does not cause damage, should it be considered as harm? And then, and should offensive be considered as a harm too? This is psychical harm. For example, we hurt someone by our tools. But if psychological harm, that is what when we do a verbal bullying to someone. Hard is when we take damage both psychical and psychological. Offended is when less damage or disagree. Still, offense be considered as a harm? How do we define this, especially on speech? It's kind of hard though. And this is offend. This is the answer. Offend is not same level with hard. If someone is uncomfortable with our speech, doesn't mean we can talk about it. We still can talk about it. Okay, the criticism about liberty. In Western country, it's very sensitive to talk about liberty, especially for democratic liberty society. Example, the woman body. This kind of liberty is too individual. When individual is free, the society is also free. So we go to the marked critic of liberty. The focus on individual liberty blind us to achieving collectiveness. Individual liberty is egoistic and reinforces competition among societies. So, regarding or according to Marx's critique of liberty, humans are inherently egoistic because we are to focusing to ourselves, we are to focusing in increasing our personal freedom. We often forget to increase the freedom of society. We increase our freedom and we will decrease the freedom of society because we always compete to others. And then the second is, if you are indeed free to do anything, yet are still chained by conditions beyond your control, are you still free? If you still say that we have liberty when there is a limitation. So the conclusion is there are two types of liberty. There is positive liberty and the negative liberty. Mill's view favors negative liberty, while Marx favors positive liberty. These two liberty may conflict with one and another. That's all. So guys, this is the end of the presentation. If you have any comment, advice, or even you want to revise it, please feel free to contact me via email. And I want to give credit that all of this material is below to my lecturer, that is Gusti, Bagus, Dharma, Agastia. Thank you so much, sir, for the material, and you delivered the material so well. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.